This week kicks off one of the most critical training camps in Predators franchise history. And today we're answering your questions about center depth and which players should be looking over their shoulder.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our Thursday shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders and our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio. And friends, I have a partner in crime.
You do. I am Emma Lingan, and I'm an NHL reporter and host with the Hockey News.
Well, the on-ice portion of training camp is kicking off today. And while that oftentimes brings tons of excitement, this year's training camp mostly brings pressure and questions when it comes to the Nashville Predators season. Today, we are going to try to answer some of your biggest questions that you have ahead of this season. We're going to talk about center depth for the Predators, or lack thereof. And we're also going to talk about which under-the-radar players could improve their stock this season. Before we dive into all of that, we do want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Emma, 84 years is over. Let's hope it's not another 84. Of course, yesterday, the players and staff all met together. Today, the on-ice portion of training camp kicks off, where we're going to get eyes on this group all together. For anybody who is interested in the schedule today, practices are open to the public. It's at Bellevue Ice Center. Or Ford Ice Center Bellevue. I always say that wrong. Ford Ice Center Bellevue. Yeah. It kicks off at 8:45 a.m. There are going to be 3 groups practicing and cycling through. So that is what the on-ice portion is going to look like today. For those of us in the media, we'll be arriving at 8:15 a.m. because Barry Trotz is going to talk with the media before the on-ice portion kicks off. We're recording this clearly before 8:15 a.m. So be sure you're following Emma and I and the podcast on social media, because Emma, what's Barry Trotz going to talk about?
Yeah, well, before we start stirring any drama cauldrons, I will say this is routine. He did the same thing last year.
Typical.
This is normal. It's not like, oh, there's some massive announcement. I mean, maybe there is, but that him meeting with the media is very standard protocol. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's making any kind of announcement, although if he were going to, perhaps he would be announcing, I don't know, the new contract of one Luke Evangelista.
As of the time of this recording, Luke.
I almost said it. I almost said it, but I was like, that's your line. I'm going to leave it for you. As of the time of this recording.
I feel like that's going to be on my tombstone at the rate we're going. At the time of this recording, Ann Kimmel died.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. I think it's good for everybody to know that Barry Trotz always kicks off this with an opportunity to kind of talk to the media and answer some, big picture questions about the upcoming season. But you can bet somebody's probably going to ask him about, hey, what's going on with Luke Evangelista? So be following on social media, because we will keep you updated there on what we hear from Barry Trotz. We have been hearing, Emma, from our insiders and our everydayers. We put a poll out on YouTube, and I just want to preface this by saying there are only so many lines you can put on a YouTube poll. And when the question is, what is your biggest concern ahead of training camp? I had to whittle it down. So
Yeah,
we put that.
that's a tall order. That's quite a
Yeah,
list to have to whittle
they,
down.
they give you 4 options. I'm like, clearly you did not watch the last 84 years of hockey in Nashville because we're
We
going to
need
need
84 options.
we do. One for every year we've aged. The poll results, very interesting. 38% are concerned about veterans bouncing back. That's a topic we're going to talk about on this mailbag. 27% are concerned about Andrew Brunette coaching and how that's going to go for the team. 24% are concerned about Roman Yossi's health. Hopefully, we'll get a better gauge on that situation. And then 11% are concerned about the new defensive pairings. And again, friends, I could only pick 4 options, you know. So I could have done like 16 polls and then maybe we would have gotten your vote on everything. But what I love is that one of the replies was like center depth. And I thought, okay, let's talk about center depth because it is a huge issue for the Predators, but it is what it is, Emma. The center situation for Nashville just plain is what it is right now. And who you have, Ryan O'Reilly, Fedor Svechkov, Erik Haula, Michael McCarron are likely going to be the Nashville Predators centers. So let's look at those one at a time. Ryan O'Reilly, likely to be the 1C. How you feeling about that, Emma?
Fine. I mean, fine. It's a role that, on a really competitive team, I think he would be your 2C, should be your 2C, should be a perfect 2C. However, he's not. And I think, it's a role that it's in terms of individual centers I'm worried about in the center depth. He's not one of them. I feel fine.
Yeah. The things we worry about with Ryan O'Reilly are his over exaggerated sense of personal accountability. We'll be
Yeah.
keeping an eye on that at training camp. That's a concern. Look, here is what it is. He is not Nathan McKinnon. He is not Connor McDavid. He's not Jack Eichel. But you know what? He's Ryan freaking O'Reilly. And yes, this is an aging veteran. He is not going to be around for the not yet. This is not going to be a piece that you're going to see 5 years from now, 7 seasons. I don't know. The O'Reillys, though, they don't age like Emma and I in a bad season. So maybe, I don't know, maybe. But, he is who he is. And you've got to like what you get with Ryan O'Reilly. And I know people are like, he's so old. Hockey players typically don't age like the cliffhanger game from The Price is Right. Do you remember that game that I'm talking about from Price is Right? Where the little guy in the lederhosen goes up and then just goes off and he goes, yo-dee-oo-dee, yo-dee-oo-dee, yo-dee-oo-dee. I loved that game. Sorry for all of you that just had to hear that. Stop acting like Ryan O'Reilly is the cliffhanger game from The Price is Right. Like my concern level this season for his performance tanking, I sleep fine at night with Ryan O'Reilly. It, like you said, not ideal, but I sleep fine at night.
No, I mean, like, again, the center depth is what it is, and what it is not that great. So when he's your best option, like, there's no one else. Let me put it this way: there's no one else I would rather have as the 1C that's on this roster currently.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Also want to point out in the list of centers that you mentioned with O'Reilly, Svechkov, Haula, and McCarron, I want to draw attention to the one name that you did not mention, which is a good thing, and we should keep it this way.
Yes. Oh, I know where you're going.
Steven Stamkos, not a center. We're not going down that road. It is nice to know that you have him in your back pocket if you need, if heaven forbid something happens, there's an injury, I don't even know. It's a worst case scenario situation for you to use Steven Stamkos as a center. I don't think you're going to get the best Steven Stamkos as a center. You need to free him up to let him do his thing on the wing, do his thing offensively, and maybe not trust him with so much defensive responsibility because
Not so much. Not so
not
much.
so much. So I think that is just something I
Mhm.
wanted to point out. I'm glad that we're not going down this road. Like, yes, it's technically an option, but let's act like it's not, because I
Yes.
just don't think that's good for anyone. We tried it. We tried it last year. And now we know.
It's just not for us.
It's just not.
It's just not for us. Yeah. I thought we were going to have a moment of silence for Colton Sissons because it feels so strange to not say Colton Sissons, of course, is going to be centering. So let's just take a moment. Okay. I hate that. Coming up, we're going to be talking about Fedor Svechkov, and this episode will not be the only time. Is the young player ready for a 2C role? Today's episode's brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for all those kickoffs with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You're going to love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, whether it's those player props, building that same game parlay, or jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's going to make every game a little bit more exciting, whether you are watching your favorite team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting fanduel.com to get started. That's fanduel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, Emma, talking about center depth or lack thereof, you all will notice that this, we're really honed in on the four guys. There's not a lot of mystery here. Fedor Svechkov. Here's what I will say about Fedor Svechkov. We don't know yet what we don't know. Played only 52 games in the NHL last season. I think a lot of his success is going to hinge on the success of and the working relationship with his line mates. With that in mind, who do you think he needs to be with in that 2C role? Who would you put with Fedor?
Well, that brings us back to the $1 million question of, is Luke Evangelista going to have a new contract? Because truly now, again, I've said before, I don't want us to overvalue Luke Evangelista and what, like his role as part of the core of this franchise. But at the same time, whether or not he's available in camp is going to actually it's going to be significant. It's going to determine answers to questions like these, like who is Svechkov going to play with? That being said, I personally would put him with a guy like Stamkos on that second line. I think that is a good opportunity for him to play with a offensively skilled winger, allow him to do, more of the playmaking, getting Stamkos the puck, and then he can do his thing from there. If not Evangelista, the reason I would say Evangelista would be a good line mate to put him with is simply because they are kind of both part of that same group that's part of the theoretically the now and the not yet, that you would kind of want them to get more reps together, and kind of build that chemistry. If not Evangelista, I don't know, I might put him with like a Bunting, maybe a Michael Bunting, someone who can get into those dirty areas. Again, not a ton of
Not a lot of
depth to choose
options.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have gone back and forth on this. I was chatting with one of our insiders about like how do we think Andrew Brunette is going to try these lines. And I wonder if for Svechkov, maybe he would do Stamkos and Marchessault, because then you got those two veterans with him. But I don't know. I don't know. We know the players, it's very difficult to set the board up yet.
I don't
with how
know.
that
I start getting Tommy Novak flashbacks because they tried that with him
Yeah, I
too,
know.
and it did not work. And now
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that Svechkov and Novak are the same player, but I don't know. Something about I like Marchessault and Forsberg on the top line with O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. But I don't know. I wouldn't be mad to see them try it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't know that that's the direction they go in. But who knows?
Yeah. Fedor Svechkov is going to be one of the most interesting stories, not just of training camp, but I think of this entire season, because you are asking a 22-year-old with less than 60 NHL games to be a key piece in getting this team out of the basement of the entire league in a very quick turnaround. My other question that I wrestle with is, how patient will Andrew Brunette be with Fedor Svechkov? Is he gonna pull the whoop, Stamkos to center thing too early? Because I'm like, would you like to watch Ann and Emma lose their hockey Jesus, friends? Tune in for the episode after that happens.
I think though, like this is where, I know we had our moment of silence for Colton Sissons, but this is almost where it's a good thing. Take away that
Mhm.
option. Take away the option. Colton Sissons
True. Yeah.
was your safety net of like, yeah, well, if it doesn't work after one shift, Andrew Brunette, if it doesn't work, we'll just put Sissons in there. It'll be fine. It's like, okay, it'll be fine, but is it as good as it could be? No.
Yeah.
So that's one positive, at least what I tell myself is like, you don't have your safety net anymore. Now, that's not to say that he won't try to do the same thing with Erik Haula, for example, but I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Erik Haula, this is a 34-year-old veteran cycling back to Nashville. I don't know if you all can remember back, but Erik Haula has played for the Nashville Predators and several other teams in the league. So this is not brand new territory. He knows where the locker room is, friends. Um, I think this is very interesting. He played the last 3 seasons with New Jersey, and I think there's a couple of things of note. He had a little overlap with Andrew Brunette, so it's not like they're just meeting for the first time. Also, he centered a line and spent a lot of time playing with another young player named Dawson Mercer. And so I'm like, I like that you're bringing in this guy who is used to playing with a young player who is getting up to speed in the league. And so I think that spot, whoever gets the opportunity to play with Erik Haula, I like that he's used to doing that. But I mean, let's just be honest. Erik Haula is like, he's not going to light it up, but he's going to get it done. He's
He's
okay.
not gonna light he's not gonna light it up, and I hopefully he's not here for long. And that
Yeah.
sounds bad. I don't mean like, oh, this guy, get him out of here, but it's more like that's a guy that you want to flip at the deadline. I mean, that's kind of
Mhm.
assumed. It was a salary dump for New Jersey. They included a draft pick to kind of sweeten the deal, and so I think that he serves a purpose right now, but I
Mhm.
mean, ideally, with where this team is going or where they should be going, it's not a guy that is even going to be here for a full season. So
Yeah.
I'm really not that concerned with what he does or doesn't do. I don't think that Erik Haula's performance is going to have a tremendous impact on the team this season.
Yeah, we have bigger fish to fry, you all. And we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's episode. Way bigger fish to fry. Of
Yes.
course, Michael McCarron centers that fourth line. And I want to see that fourth line go back to being the fourth line it was when it was Smith, McCarron, and Sherwood. And I know we can't get them back, but that fourth line combination was so critical in the 23-24 season. That season, there were 31 goals between Smith, McCarron, and Sherwood. And that was a group that oftentimes started in the defensive zone and had to do the dirty work to get to the opportunity. Now, some of those were shorties, but you're looking at some depth goal scoring. Those numbers were not the same last season, friends. And it wasn't just the Kiefer Sherwood factor, although shout out to Kiefer Sherwood, who, by the way, if y'all didn't know, got married this offseason. And his dog was in the wedding. Congratulations. I love that. I loved that.
These are the details that you come to the Locked On Predators podcast for. You don't get this kind of coverage anywhere else. No, I agree. Like, I think it's very easy. It's low-hanging fruit to say, well, they had the 31 goals the year before, and then they didn't the next year. What changed? Kiefer Sherwood's gone. He must be the reason. But look, it's not that simple. I mean, take a look around. If your name is not Philip Forsberg, you did not have a good season with the Nashville Predators last year. So I think that's just kind of the fact of it. So I agree with you, though. I do think maybe part of that could be like part of why, again, the Sherwood factor, yes, but it's not so much that they were missing Sherwood. It was that there wasn't a consistent third person on that line the entire year. It kind of became a dumping ground for, it would just kind of cycle through different guys. It ended up for a while being Zach LaRue, kind of down the stretch there. And we've talked about this before. I don't love that role for him. I think he can play it, and I think it's good to know that he can. He has the physicality. I mean, my goodness, he throws his body around like you would not believe. So he definitely is not afraid to get physical, and that's great. But we've talked about it before, so I don't need to rehash it again. I don't want to see him get pigeonholed into that fourth line role. I want to see him I think, I still selfishly, I think Bunting, Haula, LaRue on the third line. That would be fun. That would be so fun. So spicy. Like, remember the Herd line years ago when it was who was it? It was Tino and Yakov.
Matthew Olivier for a while. The Biloxi Bowl. Yeah.
And Yakov Trenin and Tanner Jeannot. And that everybody loved the Herd line. It was so fun. They're big and they push people around. And Colton Sissons.
Colton Sissons was there too. How quickly we forget.
Guy. Who was the other? It was freaking Colton Sissons. Anyway, the point is that was like that fun third line that everybody liked. I'm like, I think that Haula, Bunting, and LaRue, they could be like the Herd line, but with more offense, offensive upside. Like the Herd line
here for that
scores goals. I mean, they're not in terms of like size. They're not the same size as like Tanner Jeannot and Yakov Trenin, but like they're spicy, they're physical, they're greasy. I don't know. I think it would be fun.
All day, every day. I am here for that line. Yeah. I would be so here for that. If anybody's listening, we vote yes. Coming up, there aren't a lot of open roster spots available in this training camp. We talked about that on yesterday's show. But are there players whose ice time could dip because a newcomer is nipping at their heels? We're going to answer that question coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It is an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you have put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. It does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and you'll finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. It is a great tool for young adults working towards a long-term financial goal, and it keeps partners on the same page when it comes to financial collaboration. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. All right, Emma, answering some questions about training camp. And we know that there aren't a ton of roster spots open. We talked on Wednesday's show about some players that we are interested in seeing vie for those opportunities. But is there a roster spot that could get sniped by a newcomer? And I'm going to expand this beyond training camp and talk about this question as we look forward. Whose playing time could be decreased or eliminated by a young player on this roster?
I mean, eliminated off the bat, I don't know of anyone, quite
Yeah.
frankly. But I think I don't know. I mean, if you look at guys, again, it's really gonna depend on the trajectory of the season in terms of
Mhm.
like how are things going? How quickly are we going to start offloading guys on expiring contracts, things like that. Um so I really don't know, but that's kind of the big question that's hanging over all of this. Um I don't know. If you look at the forwards, I think again we talked about it on yesterday's show about, guys like Matthew Wood, guys like Ozzy Weisblatt, Joachim Kemmel, like again, I don't think that they're coming into training camp like, oh, like Michael Bunting's going to be out of a job like immediately,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's one of those situations where it's like Michael Bunting is on an expiring contract, so in theory it's like you might start to see these younger guys come in, start taking more of the playing time, especially if the team is not doing well. Um, that's where you could see it. So again, with the forwards in particular, I don't think it's like we're not going to have any major surprises in terms of
Yeah.
like, oh, like someone gets traded before the season starts and we have a completely new roster. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
With the defense, again, your top four is pretty much set.
Mhm.
That third pairing, though, is interesting because it's the one where that's one where it's hard to say. I can't really say that someone's job is going to get taken because we don't really know whose job it is at this point.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be, we assume it's going to be Adam Wilsby and Justin Barron. Um, at least I assume that.
Mhm.
But who knows? Maybe like a Tanner Mollendijk comes in and is incredible and needs to be on the roster yesterday, and he's comfortable playing on the right side, which he has said that he's done before, and is comfortable with. And maybe you put him on the right side and with Adam Wilsby and you make Justin Barron your extra defenseman. Maybe I'm manifesting this through wishful thinking. I don't know. But the point is, it could happen. And
Mhm.
it depends on how committed they are to, for example, a Justin Barron, who's going to be, he's going to be an RFA. So it's like, do we want to commit? Someone like Spencer Stastny, just
Right.
because he's got that one-way contract doesn't guarantee anything. So there's still a lot of questions. And again, it's not so much who's going to steal a spot. It's like, whose spot is it to begin with?
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Look, here's what's real. We know much about the forward situation. We know basically defensively what we're going to get. But I do think that third pairing is worth watching through training camp, especially. I also really think you hit the nail on the head, because if this team just does not get it together right away, and we talked about they've got to have a hot start, they have got to be competitive right out of the gate. If they don't do that, you probably are going to see in the season the transition from these veterans, some of these UFA veterans, to, hey, you know what we're going to do, Matthew Wood, here you go. So much hinges on a hot start or a respectable start. We'll take respectable start on this team. And you may see a transition, if they can't do it, way sooner than the trade deadline, way sooner than next season. So there is a lot. We did get one other question, and this is a burning question. I don't know why I left it for last, because this is actually the stuff that we should be tackling right out of the gate. But we did get the question, will Philip Forsberg shave his mustache?
No. Why is that a question?
No. Here's what we know for sure. And these are the words that Philip Forsberg has said, is that Erin, his wife, who is super lovely and very cool from what I can tell, loves it. So if Philip Forsberg is smart, he will not do nothing unless Erin says so. So by all accounts, she loves it.
Yeah, it's kind of his thing. It's kind of his personal brand. You don't, you can't get rid of it.
No. I loved the jerseys at his camp 2 weeks ago. They have the mustache on it.
Yes.
They were so great.
Yeah,
they were so great. Any picture I see of him with pre-mustache, I can't.
It looks wrong.
Doesn't compute. Yeah.
It's like your face is naked. Like put something on that. I don't know.
Could you cover that up?
It's weird.
Yeah. Here's the other one, random. Go with me on this journey, friends. I was looking at a bunch of different statistics the other day, and I was looking into Jonathan Marchessault about something, and his rookie picture, I would never know who he was. I looked at the picture and I'm like, are there two? Who is this? They're not the same people.
His rookie picture.
Can't unsee it.
I'm gonna look it up in live as we talk about this right now.
Yeah.
So you can get my live reaction.
Yeah, it shocked me.
So rookie photo.
I would not have known that was him.
That's like a trading card where he's playing. I can't see his face.
Look at hockeyreference.com is where I saw it.
Okay.
Burned into my eyes. It just does not look at all like him.
Hockey reference. Let's see. Oh.
I would not have known.
Baby.
I would not have known that was Jonathan Marchessault.
He's so young.
Yeah.
I mean, duh, but
even when they're younger pictures, you can still see the person. I didn't see Jonathan Marchessault in that, but it's him.
I can see him, but I get it is a little jarring. He's less hairy than he is now. So I mean, in terms of facial hair and also the length of his hair, he's very coiffed in this photo.
He is. Yeah.
So
and he is more mulletish, like naturally curly mulletish. Now,
I'm looking at the same picture now.
No, I can't see it. Anyway, you all look up pictures of John. The other one, Roman Josi as a baby sprout.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, we were not looking
the one
at
I'm talking about,
picture, but now I definitely see the one you're talking about. Yeah, I would not have known that was him.
Yeah.
Hockey Database. It's on Hockey Database.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
That might have been
Hockey Reference. It just looks like a clean shaven Jonathan Marchessault, but Hockey Database. Yeah. Who is that?
I was like, is that one of the new guys? Are there what is this? Yeah. So anyway, just so you know, Jonathan Marchessault has changed over the course of his NHL career. We're going to have way more updates for you as training camp kicks off today. Again, we are going to be joining Barry Trotz before practice starts. Be sure you're following the podcast, LO_Predators on social media. Be following Emma and I on social media as well. We will keep you updated on anything we hear from Barry Trotz. We'll also keep you updated through the course of the morning as the players take the ice at Ford Ice Center, Bellevue. That's the official name for it. Emma, before we log off today, will you let everyone know where they can find you and your work?
You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingan, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. That's going to do it for part 1 of our training camp mailbag. We'll be back tomorrow answering a few more questions as this season kicks off. We hope that you will join us for part 2. And again, we'll keep you updated on training camp as the stories unfold. We'll see you then.